You're listening to the CRN Morning Show on the Catholic Radio Network.
Good morning. This is your host, Ken Billinger, and we welcome back Stefan Rybak, who was our guest last week in sharing his story on the Shadow of My Heart. Shadow on My Heart, a book that he wrote. Good morning, Stefan. How are you this morning?
Ken, good morning, good morning, good morning to you, good morning to your listeners. I'm doing phenomenally well, very highly favored, very blessed, and really honored to be back on your show this morning.
Well, we kind of ran out of time, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to finish a few things up. Obviously, Stefan is an energetic, enthusiastic, positively motivated guy in multimedia management, and of course, you wrote a book, The Shadow on My Heart, and what I'd like you to do this morning, if you would, is maybe just kind of recap that briefly, a little bit about the book, but really the three keys here: faith, family, and forgiveness. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little more on that. So if you would share with our listeners a little more about the book and briefly, and then kind of get into the faith, family, and forgiveness.
Well, Ken, through the good grace of God, I was inspired to write a book. The book's title is The Shadow on My Heart, as you said. It is a book about faith, it is a book about family, it's a book about forgiveness, and it's a book about following God's will. The book was released last month, and Ken, on day number 1 of release, we were blessed to make it into the top 10 on the bestseller list on Amazon. Critic reviews have been great, reader reviews have all been 5 stars, and this is really the hand of God at work here. So all praise, all glory, all honor be to God for what he's doing in moving this book around the world. The availability has expanded beyond Amazon. We're now on BarnesandNoble.com, Powell's.com, Goodreads, various online book websites in Europe and Australia. And basically, Ken, we are living in uncertain times. And my book says that amidst all of this uncertainty is the certainty of God's love, the certainty of God's guidance, the certainty of God's protection. We need to tap into God's will for our lives and pray that he gives us the strength to follow his will. Now, this is not just a feel-good book. This is a book about the truth that my father was an abusive man. He was physically, verbally, and emotionally abusive. My mother, a great woman, a woman of God, but her biggest failing was that she was a severe alcoholic. And my biggest failing was that back in the late 1970s, I was a hot rock and flame-throwing radio disc jockey, and truth be told, I was into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and God saved me. God also saved me 5.5 years ago when I was diagnosed with a very extremely rare heart disease, and I needed major, highly invasive open heart surgery. This surgery is considered second in seriousness only to brain surgery, and God saved me. Wow. And during my months of recovery from that surgery, I decided to write The Shadow on My Heart.
Well, let's talk. It's amazing that in just a short amount of time, it was a top 10. It was top 10 on Amazon. What do you think the draw was there? We've got about a minute left, so I want to let you talk on that a bit.
Can I go back to the uncertainty of our times? We're living in uncertain times. We're living in very confusing times. And the essence of this book is that if anyone is experiencing uncertainty, if anyone is experiencing something devastating in their life that they can't understand, that they can lean on the will of God and fulfill his will to bring us closer to him and help us live a life that is more fulfilling.
Well, Stefan, if somebody wants to get a copy of the book, again, it's called The Shadow on My Heart, Faith, Family, Forgiveness, the new book by Stefan Rybak. Again, they can get it on Amazon. Also Barnes & Noble, you said, correct?
Yes, BarnesandNoble.com, Powell's.com, Goodreads. Just Google The Shadow on My Heart, Stefan Rybak. The Shadow on My Heart, Stefan Rybak. And I'm sure they'll be able to find it.
Stefan, thank you so much. Thanks for writing the book. Thanks for putting all your heart and soul into that. And thanks for being our guest this morning. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you very, very much for the honor and the blessing. You made my day.
All right, Stefan. Thank you. Stefan Rybak, our guest this morning on the CRN Morning Show.